This 2023 Toyota Tacoma is currently the best seller in the mid-size segment in the United States. They sell approximately 20,000 of these every single month. But the next generation 2024 Tacoma is here. So can it carry the torch? Can it still be the best seller? So in this video, I have a unique opportunity. This is the first drive of the all-new 2024 Tacoma. I can quickly show you a side-by-side comparison. But most importantly, I can interview the chief engineer, Sheldon Brown, and actually look at the older chassis and the newer chassis and see how they differ. Sheldon, thank you for your time.
All right, it's a pleasure, Ryan.
I'm here with Sheldon Brown, the chief engineer of the new Tacoma, and you have two rolling chassis here.
We do, yeah.
Can you tell me what is this about?
Well, you know, what we did actually is we wanted to be able to demonstrate the differences between the outgoing platform and the new TNGF platform. So in the interest of complete disclosure, what we talked about, these are a little bit hybrid, they're Frankenstein. Truthfully speaking, they're actually pulled directly from our boneyard. So you'll notice they've been sitting in the rain for about half a decade. But
they show important details.
That's right. The purpose here is what I want to make sure we understand. And we're really focusing on the actual overall frame. What we actually have built out here is a TRD Pro in the front to a next generation TRD Pro. In the back, it's actually the ORP execution versus the ORP execution.
So TRD off-road
TRD off-road package, that's yes. Exactly correct. So let me walk you back here, and this is of course one of the things that immediately jumps out, right? Overall, size of the frame, open seat channel as we move back, right? So this is the combined boxed in the front, transition to the open seat channel.
So it used to be called what, the tri-frame design, right? Something like that?
That's exactly right, yes. And that was the concept of utilizing up front where we needed a lot more strength, allowing for a little bit more flexibility, a little bit lighter here in the back. With the next generation, of course, we wanted to take it to the next level, increased overall performance.
And I just want to point out really quick, tank,
that's
driver's side,
that's right.
Leaf. All right.
That's right.
Now let's transition over here. This is the new truck. This is the 2024.
This is the all-new truck. That's right. This is the 2024. We're actually showing this right here again in the front execution. The new I'll say Pro. That's right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Forged aluminum upper control arms. We have our Fox QS3 quick switch. Some of the things you may notice that are different, right, compared to say the Tundra that's on here. You know, Tundra, we take the front Stabi bar. That's routed around in the front. For this truck, we had to shorten the overhang.
Okay.
To do that, we wanted to move all of that to the back. And so you can see right here, we have our stabilizer control bar back here. This allows us to maximize or to minimize really that front package, which allows us to maximize our front approach angle, make sure we're keeping that front nose really, really skinny.
The diameter of this is pretty massive.
Yes, it is.
Is that a hollow tube or?
This particular one is solid,
okay.
But this also one that we have features are disconnectable.
And we can show that in a minute, right?
We sure can. Okay. Yep, we got a functional.
This, of course, the Turbo 4, right?
That's the Turbo 4. This is actually a 4x2 execution of the motor here. Again, we sort of pulled this off the pile of evaluation vehicles, mounted up here just to give you a sense on how she mounts up.
Okay.
Yep. You can see, of course, we have our turbo, and then of course our tuck our cats way up in here, trying to keep them up and out of the way, keep them close to the engine so they warm up quick. But it's also great for theft prevention because now they're sandwiched between the engine, the frame, really hard to get to. Anything beyond here, of course, is non-value for those people who are going after cats.
Sure. Let's look at the frame because I can already see this is much thicker.
That's
and
right.
Fully boxed as well.
Exactly. So you'll notice a couple things. She's wider.
The whole frame.
That's exactly right. Yep. But as you said, we've got a taller section, completely boxed. And then what you may notice right in here, you'll see, for example, this line that you see right here. We are talking about those Taylor welded blanks. We call it Dejima, an island of strength. So what we're able to do is keep an optimal gauge of frame thickness here. But this is an area where we have either high stress or we're looking for additional strength. We can change both the thickness, the gauge, if you will, also the type of steel. So we can actually go to a higher tensile strength steel if we want to. And so then what happens is when they're open, they're cut, they're then welded, they're then formed together, and then these two pieces come together, and then we weld them all up. What this allows us to do is put strength and basically material selection where we want it, where we need it in an area of high stress, and then basically optimize the rest of that frame strength so that we can.
So you kind of, instead of doing this material everywhere, you know, you may add unnecessary weight in areas.
That's right.
So you're focusing on those special areas.
That's right. And there's another piece that's important because there's another way to skin that cat. We could have used the lower, I'll say gauge material. Then on the inside, we would have welded a gusset or a bracket.
Sure.
The problem that we of course have with that is now you've got inside of the frame, you've got areas where we have a heat affected zone for welding. It's easy for water to get caught in those particular areas. It can add to additional corrosion. By doing this, we have clean, flat surfaces, allow the water to come right out of the frame, improves our overall frame corrosion performance.
Okay, now the fuel tank is here on the passenger side now.
It is.
Because this is like the new chassis, TNGAF, right?
That's right. I was joking with the guys before. We played rock, paper, scissors. I lost. It's no longer on the left side. It's now on the right. But we don't want to inconvenience the customer, so we do route the fuel filler off to the other side.
Yes.
So it's still like all your choices. It's going to be on the driver's side. Whether you're right-hand drive or left-hand drive, you're always on the driver's side.
By the way, you mentioned the width is a little bit different of the frame. You increased the wheelbase.
We did, almost 4 inches.
Okay.
Yeah. From if we hold the center point the same, this is about four inches back, and then of course from the outgoing model, we're about 3 inches wider, SR5 to SR5, almost 6 inches when you get up to like the TRD Pro.
But the overall length of the truck itself is almost identical to where it
bumper to bumper, it's identical. It's within a millimeter.
Because that was important for people with garages, right?
100%. We were focused on basically that 1964 build code of National Building Code, 18-foot garages. We wanted to be short of that, so we're about 3 inches short of that. Allow you to be able to have a little bit of room for error, but make sure that you can always get in real easy. And then we talked about the frame being wider, and we talked about the tread width being wider. The other critical piece was door to door. So that's why you see the big muscular shoulders, but we kept the doors a little bit skinny. That allows you to open that door and exit inside the garage.
Still, okay. Yep. Now, the rear suspension design, of course, is different.
It is.
And let's just focus on this one because I know you have different orientations.
Sure.
This is the off-road, you said.
This is the off-road, right? Yeah. So we built a Frankenstein, a Pro in the front and off-road in the back.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So this is our Bilstein. This is our basically 2-inch. It's a monotube with this, we'll say, piggyback reservoir, which really allows us to push the fluid and to basically get increased damping. This does have end stop control, which we can take a look at over here. We'll get a minute. And what that really helps is right before you get into these, urethane bump stops here, we're basically increasing a lot of that damping force so that we can make this event a little less shocking.
Yes, and then because it's an off-road, you also get the beefier rear differential. Let's look at it from this side.
That's right. So the beefier differential is a little bit of we combine the BD24 or the 9.5-inch diff gearing with the hybrid and then with the off-road manual. And so those would be the two combinations that you'll see this. This particular frame is actually probably built off of the hybrid variant.
Okay, and visually, I'm just looking at the older chassis. Visually, it even looks, from a distance.
Yeah, much larger.
It looks larger.
Yeah, heavier axle capacity load, etc. Yep.
All right, let's look at this table.
The multi-link. Yeah, sure.
Really quick, because you have a couple of components here.
We do.
Specifically, the disconnectable front sway bar.
That's right, exactly. So this is what you're seeing. We talked about that before. This is the area right here. Behind this, you can see this is where we keep our basically electric motor. That underneath that kind of looks something like this.
Okay.
Plugs in. Basically, what that does, that motor will actuate effectively this gear here, which rotates. And that goes into here. I just knocked these pieces out, but those pieces are locked in, which effectively lock themselves, and this allows basically this to separate. And so this part of the Stabi bar can basically rotate independent of this part. We talked about this a little bit earlier.
Yeah. So why is it important? I mean, for those people who may not understand, let's kind of stand over here.
Back to here.
It basically, on the highway, when you're going into a fast speed corner, you want that connected because otherwise you have a lot of lean, right?
A lot of body roll, that's right.
Yes.
So you're using the pressure on that bar as we push this way. It's stabilizing and pushing and basically counter-affecting and pushing the opposite side down.
But off-road, we want it loose because we want tires touching the earth, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
You nailed it. Yeah, that's all so the idea behind that is now we get rid of that tension. And typically what we'll find is that your articulation is often limited based on what the front end can do. So most folks, when they're doing an off-road vehicle, if it's going to be off-road specific, they're going to have to make a tough decision. Do I want my Stabi bar? So in other words, do I have a comfortable ride home? Or do I want to get rid of the Stabi bar so I have a better, suspension travel and wheeling? This is the best of both worlds. It will, in full articulation, you don't have to get out of the truck. You can connect it or disconnect it. It will stay disconnected up to about 20 miles an hour. Once you exceed about 20 miles an hour, it'll auto reconnect just to make sure that you have that stability.
And how much does it improve your travel?
An excellent question. About 100 millimeters, 4 inches. 97 is our actual number that we're publishing.
And that's the vertical
that is
travel?
Right. That's true if everything was flat and we were allowed to have full suspension stroke.
Okay.
What you find in RTA or RTI, which is another ramp travel index, that's another measurement mechanism. Of course, that's dependent on a lot of things in terms of the springs, but that's effectively how long can we keep 3 tires basically on the ground while we roll 1 tire up a ramp, and that's about 74 millimeters of additional travel.
Okay.
That's right. Additional travel.
Yeah,
that's right.
Forward movement.
That's right.
Of the vehicle.
Exactly.
So that's quite a difference, actually.
It is. It very much is. Yep.
Very, very cool. And of course, you have multiple wheelbases because you do have a crew cab long.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
well.
and so this one, of course, is our 3,500 millimeter wheelbase, but we do, as you suggested, a 3685. And again, you'll notice we'll just move we keep the deck mounts the same. We kind of extend that area back out here, and of course, the rear axle moves rearward.
Awesome. Well, yeah. I think let's look at the shock really quick.
Sure,
because
absolutely.
That's the new one, right?
This is the one that we're showing over here. So again, this is kind of showing the Bilstein. Right, and there you go.
I can move it.
That's right. So obviously we've removed all of the oil that's inside here, but what this is showing is the end stop control. So through the normal on-road, the shock has its basically valve coating that's allowing it to provide compliance during the road. But then as we get to sort of the end of that stroke, this spring basically holds this additional valve in place. We come back, we compress, and of course we can increase the amount of resistance there and help to stop that bottoming out. So basically it's very linear through here, and then it becomes very divergent at the top and the bottom. And so you don't get that topping noise or that bottoming noise.
And you can see the
that's right.
The piggyback.
That's right. Exactly. That's right. And what that really allows us to do is carry a lot more fluid in the reservoir. So when you're really moving that shock and heating it up, and we can use this to help cool that oil and make sure that we're keeping the pressure good.
And still having that stroke, right? The movement of it, right?
Exactly right. You got it.
Well, sweet. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming out and joining us today.
It's really cool to see what the older truck looks like underneath versus the new one. And like you can see, it's an all new pickup, the 2024 Tacoma. So here's some of the other specs. Obviously the old V6 is no more. The older 4-cylinder non-turbo engine is no more. They're all turbocharged for 2024 and beyond. There's also going to be a hybrid version of the Tacoma coming next year in the spring. This straight up turbo non-hybrid goes on sale by the end of 2023. So in just a few weeks, these should be arriving at dealers. They're all built in Mexico now. But a couple of other specs. The new truck is a little bit more efficient, specifically with a base tune on a turbocharged engine with a with two-wheel drive, up to 26 mpg on a highway and 23 combined. That's basically a class-leading number. It's pretty close to where the Ranger also is, but it's up there. The price starts at $31,500 on the new Tacoma. So it's pretty competitive in the segment, and they have so many choices. SR, base truck, SR5, TRD Sport, like this one. They have TRD Pre-Runner, TRD Off-Road, and then next year, TRD Pro, Trail Hunter model as well. And then 6-speed manuals, automatic transmissions, two-wheel drive, 4x4, then also long wheelbase with a 6-foot bed and crew cab, double cab version. Bam. So I think the answer is yes. They made the truck stiffer, gave it a little bit more payload. Well, it's not perfect. We still need to test it a lot more thoroughly, but it's a little bit more efficient than before, a little bit quicker than before. So I think yes, it has a very, very strong chance to maintain leadership, specifically with all the different trim levels and all the choices that Toyota is offering. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and check out TFL.com for many more videos, because we have off-road videos coming up, base truck reviews, many other trims. So check out TFL.com for everything automotive.